Hi, everybody, and welcome to More Books with B. Sharice. I am your host, B. Sharice Moore. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode. I think we're at like maybe 6 or 7 episodes strong now, and I'm planning on continuing because I just really love talking about books. So, again, thanks for joining me. Hope you had a restful weekend and hope you have a great week coming up. So before I start, some housekeeping things to keep in mind. Grab a pen, grab a pencil, grab a phone, grab a notebook, whatever it is you need to take notes, grab it before I begin so that, you can take some notes on what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's jump right into it. All right, today's book is One Crazy Summer by Rita Williams-Garcia. Again, it's One Crazy Summer by Rita Williams-Garcia. One Crazy Summer is a historical fiction novel. It is a middle grade novel, and I was introduced to it maybe about a year ago when I took a graduate fiction writing course. This was one of the books that we had to dissect and do a close read on. So I'm really familiar with it, and I'm actually going to be teaching it in a couple weeks to my sixth graders. So I'm really excited about that. All right, so One Crazy Summer. One Crazy Summer is the story of three sisters, Delphine, Vernetta, and Fern. And they live in New York. And unfortunately, for reasons unbeknownst to the reader, before the book begins, their mother has abandoned them. So when the book begins, there are three girls. Delphine is the oldest, and she's 11 years old. And the entire story is told from her perspective. And she and her sisters are hopping on a plane. It's the summer of 1968, and they're heading to Oakland, California to spend the summer with a mother that they've never gotten to know. So once they get there, they encounter several things. It's the summer of 1968, so of course the book is peppered with history. Um, the three girls, of course, find out, that their mother is involved with the Black Panthers. They take a trip to San Francisco. They get to know some people in the community that really end up assisting their development and their independence as the book continues. And it's just a very rich book. And I loved every second of reading it. Didn't take me long to get through it. And I think your students will enjoy reading it as well. So, again, it's One Crazy Summer. It's historical fiction. I think it's appropriate for grades 5 to 8. The reason why I cut it off at 8 is because oftentimes I find that students, once they get older, they don't necessarily want to read about protagonists that are younger than they are. And of course, Delphine is 11, and her sisters are even younger than that. So they may not have that same type of interest. But I could be wrong. Of course, there are always exceptions to rules, and I don't know every child, of course. So again, One Crazy Summer, and it's a book about self-discovery, about independence, um, and I love how Rita Williams Garcia weaves in the history of the Black Panthers into this book. It is alive and it is vibrant, and it is a huge part of the fabric of this novel. So please make sure you pick it up. So, as far as my activity is concerned, I had a great idea for an activity, and it comes from the Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences studies that I have done over the past several years. So if you're not familiar with Gardner's multiple intelligences, I suggest that you read up on it. Of course, it is not the end all be all, but I appreciate the fact that Gardner has declared that, look, there are more than one way to be smart. Okay, there's not just one way. And unfortunately, in the school system, we often focus on students who are only smart through writing, through math, through reading, okay? But there are other ways to be smart. So this particular activity, and it'll be attached in the description section, is an exhibit almost that the students would have to put together. So once they complete reading the book, what they would do is they would form they would create, excuse me, a bag of souvenirs. Okay, because the book is about a trip. All right, it's about a trip from New York to San Francisco, excuse me, New York to Oakland, and then from Oakland to San Francisco, and then back again. And of course, it's also about this emotional journey. I thought it would be neat for students to come up with a souvenir bag where they would create and gather objects that one of the main characters, either Delphine, Vanetta, or Fern, though I think Delphine would probably be most easy, the easiest choice and most logical choice. But of course, you can definitely choose Fern or Vanetta as well, the two younger sisters. And students will create a bag. And inside the bag, they would have at least 5 objects that they either create themselves or gather from household materials. And it would put them in the bag. And these objects describe the theme. Okay, so each object should be linked to the theme of the book. Along with the objects, whether they are created by hand or they're gathered, each will be accompanied by an index card, and the index card would have a 4 to 6 sentence explanation as to why the student chose to create this specific object, and also how that object connects to the theme. Okay, so again, the object is called Souvenirs. All right, and I thought it would be cool because the book is about a trip, again, an emotional journey, and of course, an actual physical journey that these young girls take. And 5 objects, and the 5 objects should be connected to the theme in some way, and have your students or your children, if you're a homeschooler, actually describe why and tell you why they chose these particular artifacts and how they relate to the moral or message of the entire novel. All right, so thanks again for joining me one crazy summer. As you can see, this book is kind of beat up because it's been in my classroom library last year, even when I didn't even teach it, and my students loved it. So it's been kind of worn down, but that's a good thing. All right, we don't want our books to always look brand new because that means that nobody's reading them. So it shows you that I've been reading it, my students have been reading it unprompted, and it's just an outstanding book. And as you can see, it's also a National Book Award finalist. Oh, also before I go, this is the first book in a trilogy. Okay, so the next book I believe is called B11, and the final book is called Gone Crazy in Alabama. So again, this is the first book in the trilogy. So if you really enjoy this, your children and your students really enjoy this, look into the next 2 books in the trilogy. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. Um, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Share far and wide so I can get some more views. All right. And again, yeah, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Suggest a book. I'm open. And I hope you all have a wonderful and productive week. Take care.